on with the book when society reaches Macondo.
Well, I mean, it's foreshadowed every time the gypsies come. They're always progressed a little bit further.
Right.
Just a little bit. I mean, there's a reason why it won the Nobel Prize.
Oh, absolutely. Beyond that, I have been, as always, working with the garden, but I've been so lazy with it, Noe.
Mm-hmm.
I've been so lazy with it.
I can tell.
Oh. Oh gosh, I almost killed the purple basil, the immortal purple basil. It might come back. It's got leaves.
It's got a
leaves.
big roof.
It's got leaves again. It has spider mites. Everything has spider mites now, and I need to order predatory mites to get a nice population of predatory mites going that can help to fight back the spider mites so that they can kind of develop a balance between the two. Right now, what I have is far from a balance. I just have massive colonies of spider mites, which are engulfing all of my plants, and which I am occasionally spraying back. And it's not a good, sustainable system. So we're going to go with a little bit more sustainable plan. We're going to get some predatory mites, and we're going to see what we can do there. Hopefully keep all of our exotic
plants and fruits. Do we have any fruits left? No, we don't. It's just the eggplants.
We've got the eggplants, we've got the black crim tomato, we've got 3 different types of eggplants, we've got the purple tomatillas, and then we've got the little hydroponic succulent garden and the almost barely alive purple basil.
So, Alan, have you been watching any shows lately?
I've caught up with the last episode of Simpsons that they finally released. It was okay. You know, It was okay. I was glad to at least catch up with the show. I think that there's another one probably waiting for me, which I might check out tonight. It'd be kind of nice to watch another episode of The Simpsons, honestly. It's just kind of nice fanfare that I can just sit back and enjoy and not really care too much about as long as it's not just an absolute train wreck of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you, while you were in Hawaii, you were watching the Chucky's series?
I was. I finished it in 2 days. It's actually been the fastest TV show I've completed in a long time.
Now, how was the Chucky's series?
I loved it. If you're a fan of the original Chucky movies, I think you'd enjoy it a lot. Brad Dourif is still in the show as Chucky. His daughter's in it as well. You'd be surprised what people they got back.
Now, thematically, where are we landing on the Chucky spectrum? Are we more towards the first 3 movies, or are we more towards the Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky?
You know, it embraces everything.
Oh, interesting. Now, I like the first 3 movies. There's a little bit of repetitiveness there that I take some issue with.
I mean, 4 and 5 are take what you will. I mean, they are very different from the rest of the franchise. 6 and 7 has been trying to harken back to those original vibes. I feel like the Chucky show really brought everything that the last 2 movies were trying to do and put it in a nice good guy doll package.
Because I know that there's people who did not necessarily like Seed of Chucky or Bride of Chucky.
Right, and I don't think you've watched Curse or Cult of Chucky.
I haven't. Bride and Seed. Seed especially, I think, is my favorite.
Yeah, you're a John Waters fan, though.
Oh, I'm a huge John Waters fan. Yeah, so I really did like Seed of Chucky. I thought it was pretty fantastic. You said did he write that one? What was his contribution?
I think he written and directed.
Okay, because I know he had heavy contribution in that one.
Yeah, and he even has a cameo in it as the journalist photographer.
Now, we watched a little bit of Euphoria together, and you've watched a lot of Euphoria.
I finished it today. So Alan got to see the last 2 episodes, and he'll be around to see the part 1 and part 2 special episodes, which I will be starting relatively soon.
Yeah, you know, it's not a bad show. It's a little heavy-handed. It's not quite what I generally look for in my media, so I wasn't...
It's a hard watch sometimes, just because of how heavy the subject matter is. But it is so well written that I was invested, and I think that's why the rest of the world was as invested with the show, is because it's become the most popular show since Game of Thrones.
And then we watched a couple movies as well.
Yeah, we watched Free Guy.
Free Guy, which was even...
I'd say I liked it. I didn't love it.
Even for a bad movie, it was rough.
It was a low like for me, though.
It was a low like. It could have been a lot more fun in a lot of different areas. It really failed to do anything with its premise. You're in a video game world. There's really nothing holding you back. So to be so tame and relaxed and held back the entire time.
Right.
And then also it wants to deviate itself between 3 different storylines while we should just be focusing on the single character in the game. Because we focus on characters outside of the game so much that we then have to realize, oh wait, this character only exists as long as the video game exists.
Right.
And we have to build an entire subplot around that.
Right.
Free Guy was
I found it to be a pretty forgettable because the next day I couldn't remember what we watched.
I know, me neither. And I mean, I liked Wreck-It Ralph 2.
I loved Wreck-It Ralph.
I loved Wreck-It Ralph.
You're talking about Wreck-It Ralph 2.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph 2 much more than this. I liked the Emoji Movie much more than this.
I disagree on the Emoji Movie.
Right.
Emoji Movie's on the very, very bottom of my...
I liked Food Fight more than this. There's a plethora of bad animated movies that I liked more than this that are right along that same kind of line of movie.
Right.
Then we also watched 13 and Ghost.
13 Ghosts.
I've seen the title. It's spelled THIR 13 EN. That's 13 in.
But it's a good movie.
If the title was just spelled 13 Ghosts, either as the number 13 or spelled out 13, still be a bad title in my opinion, because as soon as Noham mentioned 13 Ghosts to me, I'm like, oh wait, what was that? And then he describes it and I'm like, oh yes, I remember that movie.
The key word was Glass House.
A much better title for the movie.
Right.
13 Ghosts, it's a pretty fun movie. There's a lot that I like about it, honestly.
It's the one movie that makes me feel like you're walking through a haunted house, like attraction.
You know, I complained about the setup. They justify it in the end. That being said, I still feel like there's at least 2 or 3 better ways to cleanly set up that movie to bring everybody into the house.
It was rather messy.
I know that you want to get them all here
Right.
and have a very elaborate final explanation as far as...
I know, it's just exposition dump.
This huge exposition dump to be able to actually explain why we did everything in this specific way. I mean, I guess it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you ignore the fact that you're like, why did you bring the one thing to the glass house that could ruin your plan?
Right, exactly.
Intentionally. There was just better actual ways that you could have set up the whole glass house thing. But the actual movie itself is pretty fun. I like that, you know.
Yeah.
It was a fun watch.
You're mostly watching it for Matthew Lillard, though.
You are mostly watching it so that you can watch Matthew Lillard die again, because... that's what I watch a Matthew Lillard movie for.
He's a fun guy to watch in movies.
Fun to watch die.
Tony Shalhoub is not a really good main character. He's kind of boring.
Tony Shalhoub, that's Monk?
Monk, yeah.
Yes. No, nobody wants to watch him.
And then you have Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie. And this is like where she was starting to get like almost her peak point in fame, I think.
And... I think she did okay with the role.
Okay.
It wasn't anything...
It's fun to see her. I kind of wish she was in a little bit more horror movies, or like more interesting horror movies at that time.
I think that's one thing that this movie at least had going for it, was an interesting premise when you had a lot of movies that were coming out that were very samey and slashery right around this time era.
Because you had a lot of Scream clones.
You had a lot of Scream clones. You had Stab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all just within weeks of each other.
Stab.
Stab, I know. It's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke. That being said, though, yeah, guys. We hope you all enjoyed music. If you were able to make it through music, it's...
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Here's some cookies.
Here's some cookies. We've watched a few more musicals in the meantime, some bad musicals that have made me think to myself, man, I wish I was watching music. So, I am actually going to probably rewatch it yet again. God knows why.
I won't be around.
You won't be around. I'm going to force my brother to watch that one.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just going to fall asleep.
He's just going to fall asleep. He always, he does have a tendency to fall asleep during some of the bad movies, unfortunately. Right. So we'll see if it's a snooze o'clock for Andy or not. That being said, thank you all for joining us here. It's good to have you again on another episode of Bad Movies Among Us. Make sure to check us out on our Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think we have a YouTube now, too.
Yeah, we have a YouTube that's horribly cut up.
Yeah, yeah.
You can find us on YouTube. All of the episodes are available there, although right now they're currently...
The best place to find us is still Spotify.
Spotify, iHeart... There's a few different podcasting apps which you should be able to find us on. We're pretty searchable now as long as you're not actually searching for the Twitter. The Twitter handle has now changed from bad_among to badmoviesau. So yeah, you can find us at badmoviesau. If you can find the Twitter, that is. It's kind of like a hidden treasure. If you actually find the Twitter, there are rewards for you. If you tweet at badmoviesau, you can influence the show, but good luck finding it. It is... really like trying to find the fountain of youth or the Golden City.
Meanwhile, on Instagram and Facebook, we're easily found.
Easily found on Instagram and Facebook. No problem there. Find us at Instagram at Bad Movies Among Us. Find us on Facebook at Bad Movies Among Us. We are there for you. We're looking forward to you guys joining us on some of the upcoming polls that we have. We've got a really exciting episode for you next month. I'd really be looking forward to it. It's more of a cult movie than necessarily a movie that you're going to be like, that's a terrible bad movie.
Right.
It's in our broader spectrum of bad movies, but it's a great movie. It fits within our category, which is simply any movie that is suitable and fun for a bad movie night. And it's a great one to be watching for that. It's low budget. It is outstanding. It pleases. If you have had people who've been a little bit bored with some other movies like The Room and don't care for the bad line delivery and you need to pep up a little bit,
check out this one. It's a little bit more fun.
It's a little bit more fun. It's fun right out the bat. It comes from some great creators. It allows you to see...
You can tell there was a lot of heart and passion that was put into it.
A lot of heart and passion put into this one. This one took 5 years for the creators to make, so this was a real labor of love here. And you'll definitely see that with the movie. So, not only do we look forward to bringing you that episode, we'll help you watch the movie with us.
Yes, we'll talk to you then.
But